everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a self-destruct video. So what is a self-destruct video? Well, I first saw this idea on Becca and the Books channel, so I will link her channel in the description below so you can go and check out her channel. What she did was she selected a bunch of books that she said, from the date of this video, I have got 1 year within which I have to read these books. If I don't read these books within that year, when it comes round to the year, if I haven't read them, I have to unhaul them, or I can have read them and I can have decided that I really love them and I'm keeping them, or that I didn't like them and I'm unhauling them anyway. But basically it is a bunch of books that Becca decided that she was going to give herself a year to read. And I thought that sounded like a fun idea, plus a good way to try and make myself accountable to read some of the books that I have on my shelf, particularly the ones that have been sitting there for a while that I just don't reach for. So last year in January, and I'm not 100% sure what date it was, but last year in January I made a These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 Months video. What we're going to do today is I'm going to have a look through that video and have a look and see what the outcome is. Did I read the books? Did I like them? Did I unhaul them? Or have I even read the books? So we're going to go through and do that together. I'll put the video from last year up here on the screen so that you can follow along and see how I went, and I can let you know. And then once I've done that, I will then go through another lot of books that I am giving myself. Same thing again. The books will self-destruct in a year if they're not read. So let's first of all get that previous video up so that you can see what we've got, and then we'll go from there. So like I said, I'm going to screen record this and pop it up here so you can see as I do, and then I'll let you know what the situation is. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to fast forward through to the actual books, and I'll probably fast forward through me yakking on about the books so that we can not be here for a million years. So let me go through what all those books are now. At the top of the pile we have Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. I did read this one. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to go through and talk about a synopsis or particularly my feelings about it, about all of these books, because again we'll be here forever. But I did read Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides and I really enjoyed it, and it's staying for now anyway. I'm going to keep it. Starting off on a positive. That's good. Let's see what else we have. The next one is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is a chunky book. It is a chunky book, and I did read it, and I did really enjoy it. I actually buddy read this with my friend Michelle, and she really enjoyed it as well. So that was a really fun experience. So I'm definitely keeping this one as well. Alright, we're doing alright. 2 for 2 for my self-destruct video. Next book. Okay, next one is Days in the Caucauses by, just says Banine. I did not read this one, and in fact I have already unhauled it. So goodbye book. Which is the point of this video, of this idea. So I don't feel too bad about it, but I am a bit disappointed that I ended up deciding that I didn't care that much. But I think that's a lesson to me to be a bit more circumspect about the books that I buy. Yeah. Anyway, next book. Okay, next one is Donna Souhami, Selkirk's Island. Said that the wrong way around. Another book that I didn't read and in fact have already unhauled. The first of those books, the Days in the Caucasus, was a book that I went into the bookstore. I had a list of books that I was interested in getting my hands on. I gave it to one of the clerks and she was like, oh well, we have some of these, we don't have all of them, but here's some other books that you might like. So I bought some of those, and like I said, I think I probably need to be a bit more circumspect about that sort of thing. And then this one was from a book box I got off Book Grocer, and it was just a whole bunch of, I had no control over what the books were. Again, maybe not something I should do again, just because I actually don't think I've ended up reading any of those books, and in fact I've unhauled like 80% of them. So yeah, probably not the best plan. Alright, let's see what the next book is. We're about, I don't know how we're going. Another book from that same box is In Times of Fading Light by Eugen Ruge. I have not read that one, and I still have it, but it's now a year and haven't read it, so I'm going to have to get rid of it. I do feel kind of bad about that because, again, what am I doing buying these books and then not reading them? But if I couldn't read it in the year that I specifically set myself the goal of reading it, am I ever going to read it? It might as well go somewhere else, out into the world where someone might appreciate it. So, yeah, I will be unhauling that book. Okay, then we have another book which I actually really want to read, but it's another book that I just keep not reaching for. So I'm putting it on this list as a way to try and get myself to read it. It is The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. I read that book. I really enjoyed it. In fact, it was one of my favourite books of 2021, and I probably wouldn't have reached for it if it wasn't for this particular idea. So yay, I am really happy about that. So yeah, read that one. That one's staying. Lastly, we have Fieldwork by Misha Belinsky. I didn't read this one either. I am actually quite curious about it, but again, if I didn't reach for it within that year that I set myself the goal of reading it, then it probably means I don't care that much, and it'll potentially sit on my shelves again for another year or even more without being read. So yeah, I think it has to go unless I pick it up in the next couple of days. But I think it's going to have to go, and if I end up deciding to read it, I can always borrow it from the library. So yeah, so some of those books I read and enjoyed, some of the books I unhauled without reading them, and there are two that I have not unhauled but also have not read that I will have to unhaul now. So they are going on the unhauled pile. Let's now move on to the books that I am going to do for this year. So what is the date today? It is the 7th of January, so that means that I just realised I actually did that one a week or two early, but that's okay. I have until the 7th of January 2023, now that's a scary thought, to either read these books or unhaul them, or read them and unhaul them. But if I haven't done something with them by the 7th of January 2023, I have to automatically unhaul them. So let's go through those now. Quite a few of these are books that I actually got in subscription box. So for a while there I was getting the Go Scribblers subscription box, which is a writer's subscription box in which you get a bunch of writing advice and also a book, which was really fun, but I ended up not continuing with it because I just really wasn't reading the books or particularly using the writing advice in a timely manner, so I kept getting stuff and then you get the idea. So I cancelled the subscription. I still really think it's a great box, so if you are looking for some writing advice and ideas, I would highly recommend it, but it just wasn't working out that well for me. Anyway, so the first book is from that subscription box, and that is A Splendid Ruin by Megan Chance. So I don't really know a huge amount about most of these books because I've pretty much just forgotten. I'm not going to read the entire synopsis on the back because, again, we'll be here forever. But I'm just going to read like kind of the first line of each of them. So it says, when a city goes dark, a family's secrets come to light. So it seems like it's going to be one of those sorts of books where it's a domestic thriller and there are sort of secrets hidden underneath a facade of happy family, which is the kind of thing that I actually do quite often really enjoy. So I definitely think that this is something I could potentially really love. But yeah, that's the first book on my Self Destruct list. We actually have 8 books, just by the by. Alright, next one is another book that was I went to the bookstore, gave a list, etc. And that is Potter's Boy by Tony Mitten. So it says on the back here, Rio's journey will bring him face to face with brave warriors, wise hermits, and heartbreaking tragedy. It's full of excitement, but not in the way he expects. So that actually does sound very much like the kind of thing that I would enjoy as well. Don't think it's a fantasy. I think it's a kind of real world adventure sort of story, but it might have some fantastical elements in it. So again, it does sound really great. It does sound like the kind of thing I would really like. So again, I really do just need to put it on a TBR at some point in the next year. The next book that we have is The Poison Tree by Erin Kelly. I believe this came in a Go Scribbler box as well. It says, I have given up so much and done so many terrible things already for the sake of my family that I can only keep going. I do not know what is going to happen to us. I am frightened, but I feel strong. I have the strength of a woman who has everything to lose. So the same as the Splendid Ruin, it sounds like something I actually really like. So it has a lot of tropes that I enjoy. It sounds like it is a one where we swap between different timelines, and we're uncovering secrets, uncovering secrets from a family's past. So again, I could potentially really enjoy this one as well. It is only 360 pages long, so it shouldn't take too long to get through. So definitely want to try and get this read in the next year. I mean, I want to try and read all of these, but now that I'm going through some of them, I'm thinking that, like, why haven't I read them yet? So yeah, let's get them read. Let's give myself a reason, the impetus to read these books. Next up, we have The Secrets We Kept by Lara Prescott. So we're just it doesn't really say much on the back here, so I'm just going to, I might actually read the entire blurb to you because it's not super long. In 1949, the celebrated Russian author Boris Pasternak is writing the novel that will become Dr. Zhivago. The Soviets, afraid of its subversive power, ban it. But in the rest of the world, it is fast becoming a sensation. In Washington, D.C., the CIA is planning to use the book to tip the Cold War in its favour. So that sounds really interesting as well. It is a book about books, which we all love. I've not actually read Dr. Zhivago. Maybe I should read that also. But yeah, it does sound like something I'd enjoy. It sounds like a bit of a spy novel, which could be interesting. So again, I do really want to get this on a TBR at some point. I do actually have a prompt in my TBR game, which is the Self Destruct list to help me out. But yeah, I must just try and remember. The problem last year a little bit was that I kind of forgot until halfway through the year. So I'll have to try and remember that. But yeah, there's that one. Next up, we have a reread. And the reason why that is on the list is essentially because I read it and I gave it 5 stars. But the more I think about it, the more I wonder, did I give it 5 stars because everyone in the community loved it and I felt like, well, it was good, so it must be amazing? Or do I not think it's actually worth the 5 stars? I still think that I would enjoy it, but do I enjoy it enough that I want to keep it so that I keep rereading it? And that is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. So yeah, if I don't reread this in a year, I have to unhaul it anyway, but the aim is to see whether or not it is a book that I'm going to keep on my shelf because I want to keep coming back to it, or is it a book that I am okay to say, I enjoyed this that one time and I'm done. I feel like I don't really need to describe this one. This is a very popular book, but essentially it is a sort of enemy to lovers story between the son of the President of the United States imagining that things worked out differently and Hillary won, but it's not Hillary, but it's a female president, and the Prince of England. Next up, we have The Whisper Man by Alex North. So I've heard some really great things about this one from a number of different people, but again, it's just not something that I've been reaching for, so I want to give myself the impetus to get around to reading it. So we have here, still devastated after the loss of his wife, Tom Kennedy and his young son Jake moved to the sleepy village of Featherbank, looking for a fresh start. But Featherbank has a dark past. 15 years ago, a twisted serial killer abducted and murdered 5 boys. Until he was finally caught, the killer was known as the Whisper Man. Of course, an old crime need not trouble Tom and Jake as they try to settle into their new home, except that now another boy has gone missing, and then Jake begins to act strangely. So again, it sounds really good. It sounds like I'd really, really enjoy it. But again, like I keep saying, I feel like I need kind of the motivation to read it. So I'm hoping that it having to go in a year if it's not read will be that motivation. So that's The Whisper Man. 2 more to go. Next up, we have Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. Marcus Zusak is well known as the author of The Book Thief, which I loved. So I'm thinking that I'll really, really enjoy another book by him. But again, I bought this off the back of loving The Book Thief and haven't reached for it yet. It is a little bit of a thicker one, so that might be part of the reason. But when I say it is a bit of a thicker one, I mean it's 570 pages, which, is on the thicker end of books, but certainly compared to something like the Way of Kings series or Robert Jordan or something, it's really not that big a deal. Anyway, this is about brothers who have tragedy in their lives, and it's about how they have kind of a rift and trying to rebuild a bridge of clay to try and kind of find the way back to them, and the main person behind that is the brother Clay. So yeah, I don't really know much more about it than that. I haven't heard really anyone talk about this book, but like I said, I did really enjoy The Book Thief, so I'm hoping that his writing style will continue to be something I really love in this one. And the final book is a book that I think quite a few of you will be a little bit surprised to see on this list, and that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I have never read any Sally Rooney, and of course I've been hearing amazing things about all of her books, but particularly Normal People. I know that some people absolutely loved it. Shah from Thoroughly Enjoyed Books and Shannon from 155 Books, it is their favourite book of all time. So I'm very curious to read it, but again, I just keep not reaching for it. So again, I just want to give myself that little push to try and get myself to actually put it on TBR and actually read it. It's quite short. It is 266 pages long, so it really shouldn't be that much of a big deal to read. It is a contemporary, so I think that it's going to be fairly quick and easy, so I really just need to read it. So that's the idea behind these books, and hopefully the threat of me having to get rid of it in a year, if I don't, will be enough to make me actually read it. I've heard quite a bit about it, but having said that, I don't entirely know what it's about. I hope that makes sense. So it's a story of mutual fascination, friendship and love, it says. It takes us from the conversation to the years beyond in the company of two people, funny, magnetic, complex, who try to stay apart but find they can't. Connell and Marianne grow up in the same small town in the west of Ireland, but the similarities end there. In school, Connell is popular and well-liked, while Marianne is a loner who has learnt from painful experience to stay away from her classmates. When the two strike up a conversation in Marianne's kitchen, awkward but electrifying, something life-changing begins. So it does sound like it could be really, really interesting. Like I said, I know it's a lot of people's favourite books, so I really want to give it a read and give it a try. And maybe watch the TV series, because it's also been turned into a series, I think, by Hulu, possibly. But yeah, that is the final book on my Self Destruct list. So like I said, I have until the 7th of January 2023 to read all 8 of these books. So there's 8 books, there's 12 months. I really should be able to do so, especially considering quite a few of them are relatively short. So it's just a matter of actually putting aside the time to read these books. So that's it from me today. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this video in general. Is there any particular book on the new list that you think I should prioritise, that you'd really like me to read as soon as possible? Yeah, let me know what you think of this general idea. Did you enjoy going back and having a look at the old footage and seeing what books I did or didn't manage to get to? Please comment below any and all of your thoughts. If you would like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then what are we going to go with today? Just leave me a stack of books, because we have a stack of books. How about that? All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.